Are we live on YouTube? Yes, we're live. Over to you, Sir Oluwatoyin Ayedu.
Thank you, Princess. Yeah, we have our time fast spent, but I believe this is going to be quite a great session. So, welcome everybody. Welcome to another insightful session for our book review. And it's been an exciting journey all along since we started this book last week, The Mind of the Leader, by Orgad, I can't remember the first name, and Jacqueline Carter.
Carter.
Yeah. So this has been a very good read so far, and we've had various presenters all the way from last week Monday. So today we'll be having someone else who's very outstanding presenter, to give us or lead us through a topic that is quite or that quite resonates, which is lead with passion. Yesterday we did a different topic. Our lady Umi took us through selfless self-leadership. Whilst today's topic, continuing in that line, we're going on to lead yourself with compassion. So without much ado, because of our time, I'll just hand over the mic to the presenter for the day, Mr. David Ipese. Thank you very much, sir.
All right. Good evening from here in Nigeria. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you very much, everyone. I see you. Not to take much time, we'll be discussing about, insights from the chapter of the book, The Mindset of Leader. And the topic of this chapter is very interesting. It says lead with compassion, right? What does it mean to lead with compassion? It means that lead with, going smoothly, taking it easy, one bit at a time. Don't rush things. Don't feel too pressured. So those are the kind of discussions we'll be having, right, from these chapters, and just almost summarizing all what we've also said from chapter 1, from the introduction to chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and chapter 4 down to chapter 5, right? So you can move to the next slide, but I just want to start with a statement that started that book, which he stated something. He mentioned something about, he gave an analogy of the airplane, right? When you enter an airplane, when there's an emergency, right, you can leave it there. Okay, you can leave it here. You can leave it here. You can leave it here. So he gave an analogy of, when there's an emergency, there's always a nose mask or an oxygen mask for people to put on, and the reason why there's always that oxygen mask for everyone is just because if you are not safe, right, you won't be able to save someone else. And that's it in every area. Even if you find yourself in a ship, find yourself in a train, if you find yourself anywhere where there's an emergency, your safety is the first thing you would also want to cater for. It's not because you are selfish, but because when you are okay, when you are balanced, when you are mentally stable, you will be able to lift other people up. You'll be able to see other people's point of view, be able to control, what, is affecting those people, right? So that is why I think that analogy just perfectly works into the discussion of today. But I also want to throw it again to everyone here also, right? We all know what it is, but in your own personal definition, I don't want to take much time. Maybe one or two person can, give their own thoughts on what they think compassion in leadership means to them.
Hello?
Okay, Mariah.
Yeah, I think compassion leadership means not being overbearing, trying to take people's view or trying to put yourself in their position or shoe.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes, you are absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. You're not just overbearing. You're not, yes, the whole Nigeria cannot be on your neck because you're a leader, right? You have your own life to live too. Next slide, please. All right. So it says understanding compassion in leadership. Self-compassion helps us to, lead ourselves in a way to mitigate pressure and increase our leadership performances. The voice in our head is just a voice, and if you decide to ignore it, it loses its power. So sometimes people are pressured when they are given a promotion. People are pressured that, oh, I need to make a mark. This person that left there before me, he did so so and so. What will I do? I don't have much experience. The certification I have is not enough to prove to the management that I'm capable of this position. You keep telling yourself all those things that nobody has even said to you personally, or nobody has come to your DM to even say type it and send to you. So those are the kind of voices that keep playing in most leaders' heads, right? And it's giving them a fear, it's giving them, and sometimes they even act in a way they are not supposed to act to their subordinates, which kind of affects their effectiveness as a leader. So leading yourself with compassion is a very vital enabler for successful leadership. Next slide, please. So we want to break some misconception about leadership here too, which was also done in the book. It says many people dismiss self-compassion because they think it conflicts with their ambition or hard-driven attitude, which are qualities that they believe have made them successful. So leadership is not by that you are given a higher position or a higher authority at a workplace or anywhere you find yourself in does not mean that you need to now be you need to be squeezing face, carry shoulder pad, and frowning and feel like, oh, you are taking the whole pressure, you are taking the whole heat, or yes, the whole power has been given to you, or maybe you don't know how to manage it, but you don't want to see them smiling so that it won't look like, oh, it's a sign of weakness, it's a sign of, oh, this person is shy, this person is not okay, is not well to do, it doesn't feel like it's due. So, like, you trying to form what you are not, right, won't make it seem like we are a good leader at the end of the day. You trying to, carve out what is not from you. So sometimes some people want to, just show that being harsh, being tough means good leadership, but sometimes it's not, right? But the truth is, self-compassion is about how you care for your own self to better succeed. Because when you're able to lead your own self, when you're able to care about your own self, your own mental state, right? It is that time you'll be able to, help other people to also succeed as well. Next slide, please. So we then go back to saying this thing is an internal thing at the end of the day, because leadership, once you're able to lead from your inside, right, you're able to lead people outside too. So how do you now do that? You have to care for your body and also your mind. Taking care of your body and mind includes the basics of finding time to exercise and making commitment to healthy diet. Being physically active and eating properly are foundation for high performance and improved well-being and an improved well-being, a fact well understood by most leaders. So the fact that you have a lot of work that are mounting pressures on you, a lot of demands that are mounting pressures on you, doesn't mean that you shouldn't have a balanced life in terms of eating, in terms of exercising, in terms of having that same time where you are just you alone and you're able to think forward, you're able to look forward, you're able to navigate through what is next for your organization or what is next for you personally, right? You shouldn't be got overwhelmed, because when you are in that state of being too distracted to care for your body and your mind, it shows, it tells, right? Those things come out and people will notice it, right? You would sometimes be communicating, and the way you be communicating with people, they can feel it in you, they can sense it that you are not fully or you are not mentally balanced, right? So you are not in the picture when they are discussing, when they are having a discussion, right? You are not always in the picture. You are not always on your 100, right? That's how a lot of Gen Z would have put it. You are not 100 today, right? So if you are saying you'll be coming out 100 every now and then, 100 means that yes, you are you are paying attention to details. There's an instruction given, you are writing notes down, you are giving suggestions. Oh, if it doesn't work, you can also cancel, you can also, give reasons why things are not going to be like that. You can lay down your objectives and lay down all the things, lay down your goals and try to see how you are achieving them day by day. Right. Next slide, please. So, and one of the important things that I took note, which because I'm also a victim, right, is sleep. Most of us we usually think that by not sleeping means that yes, you are. Sometimes I always think too that if I do not sleep means that I'm very productive, and I'll just be laughing myself when I wake up in the morning because I've actually maybe not done much things at the end of the day. Because sometimes you just want to be active online and you are just checking Instagram. Sometimes you're even online too. Sometimes you're even saying, oh, you do the work, but you might not end up doing the actual work because you might even end up, you know, breaking out, like sleeping, having different mixed mixed schedule of sleeps, right? And he gave us a data here which says according to American National Sleep Foundation, adults between the age of 16 and 64, right, should get between 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night. If they don't, they pay a steep price. Most of us here would still not agree with this data that we should sleep that we should sleep uh between the hours between six that we should sleep between 6 to 4 hours, right? Most of us will not agree. We should sleep between, sorry, we should sleep between 7 to 9 hours. I'm sure Lady Evosa, even where she is currently, even when she's most relaxed, I'm not sure she's even having up to 7 8 hours. I'm not sure. I've only seen people have that. Maybe it was then, but now I hardly see people have say, oh, I had a stretch of 8 hours sleep. Because I remember my former company there, my boss would say if you are sleeping 8 hours, 9 hours sleep is like you are realizing death. And that's in always sounds funny because how you say you are realizing death when actually we actually need sleep actually, because if you don't sleep, there's no how you'll be mentally free for the next day. You'll be mentally okay for the next day if you are too jam-packed the 2 hours sleeps, with the 2 hours sleep or with the three.
Think he has
Network issues.
is it network or probably his battery? I don't know.
No, he mentioned, yeah, that's right. But I thought he was going to use this other device because he already knew that he was going to run out of
He
battery.
joined with his phone. Yeah. Okay, so while we are waiting for David to join in, let's talk about sleep because it's actually a very important
Did you
When
topic.
is
read
back?
my mind, princess? Did you read my mind? You just took that off my list. Like
I
while we're
was
waiting for him, can we do sleep? Okay, he's back.
He's
He's
back.
Yeah,
back.
maybe once we'll deliberate on that once it's done with the
Yeah.
presentation, that we don't break
Yeah.
the flow. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, David, sorry, you can continue. Sorry about the break.
Thank you very much. Let me just it. All right. So next slide, please. So again, boils down to how well do you sleep, right? How well do you sleep? So severe sleep, severe sleep deprivation can lead to depression, can lead to anxiety and symptoms of paranoia. The most surprising fact is that while humans can survive multiple weeks without food, up to a week without water, they can only go a few days without sleep. right? It will tell very well on you. You can go few 2 3 days without sleep conveniently, like without food conveniently, or just taking water, just taking fruit. But if you are having 3 days back to back, no sleep, maybe you're just sleeping for 1 hour a day, it will tell on you because you won't be on top of your game. Even yourself, your body will tell, right? And for me, for me, it's always very obvious. If I try to think I can crush it for one full week, on Sunday when I just go to church like this, that is the place I'm always being exposed the most, because I can't even last 30 minutes during the sermon. I would have dozed off, right? Which is not good, right? I'm also saying this because it's also a correction for me, and also, to anyone here too who falls under the same bracket too, right? And next slide, please. We now go to how well we can enjoy our sleep and how to improve more in our sleep schedules. The first important thing is to do is, when you start to feel drowsy at night around 10 11 p.m. by that time, while working or while doing anything whatsoever you're doing, maybe you're just watching film, or maybe you're just having some me time, right? Ensure that you sleep. Don't even try and compromise. Oh, let me still do 1 hour to this thing. Let me go and take one coffee, right? Those things, so it doesn't apply to everyone else, because like me, I've always think that sometimes I can take coffee and stay over the night, and then those things really affect me anytime I try to do them. So I don't even embrace those things again. So anytime I feel sleepy like this, I don't even try and manage the time again. I just sleep and sleep, right? Two, switch off laptop and disconnect from your smartphones. These are very, very important things that we need to do. You don't need to now, okay, let me just scroll one thing, look for one other thing to do. Just switch off those devices, anything that is making noise, anything that could cause distractions to your hearing, because some people don't even like anything noise when they want to sleep. Some people don't feel balanced when they want to sleep. So you have to switch off your phone so that there's no vibration, or there's no beep, or there's no notification that is trying to wake you up to check one message or the other. Perpetual activities like washing dishes, going for a walk, listen to music can also help you to better catch the wave of uh melatonin as it rises. And yes, that's true. Sometimes if you come back home, if you are not working from home, if you go out, or if you are working from home rather, if you are either working from home or you come back early from your workplace, right? Just going out, spending 1 hour outside, just taking a walk, maybe not up to 1 hour, 30 minutes, 40 minutes is enough, right? The sweat on your body, the heaviness that you feel when you come back because you actually walk, so you have actually stressed yourself. You can feel it in your body that you need a rest. You will immediately sleep. Those things helps you to sleep faster. Listening to music may not work for everybody. Like me, if I can't, it's not the time listen to music that makes me feel sleepy. Sometimes my ears will just want to be hearing the lyrics or what is playing, right? So listening to music does not really work for me. Washing dishes, I think that's an extra work for somebody, because washing dishes, I don't think it applies to me that way. But some people, just doing some chores in the house, sweeping, arranging their pillows, arranging their clothes, getting the laundry set, those things could actually get them to get sleep on time, right? Fourth one, I think, is very, very important for all of us here, which is avoid eating 2 hours before you go to bed. Max 6 o'clock in the night. 6 o'clock in the evening, rather. 6 o'clock in the evening. Max 6 o'clock in the evening. That is the right time. For me, that's the right time for me. That I think it's okay for anybody to, have their dinner before going to bed, so that the remaining 2 hours, the food will be able to digest. And if we have doctors, we have pharmacists in the house. They also have an idea of this, right? It's important to balance. All these things helps us, because in a way, if you don't eat on time, and probably, because sometimes I remember a time when I was in my former workplace, I won't eat on time, and the food I will even have to go and get outside will be a food that will still also I'm not okay with it, right? So those things could happen. Those things, so if you're unable to fix it, if you don't have a drug that you need to take, you need something else. So those things are like emergencies that normally happen to me then. So I just prefer, let me eat at the right time. Let me know that, okay, this food I'm even getting, that I'm not the one that cooked it. I'm okay with it. The fifth one says practice 2 minutes of mindfulness. I think this is very important. If you find yourself in a bus stop, if you find yourself waiting for somebody in an office, if you just find yourself at home and you just feel like you don't really think that you need to do anything at this point, I think you should just switch off your phone, just sit down, not doing anything. And therein comes, some people don't even know that there's something called the art of doing nothing. I think that's where this thing comes in. There's an art of just doing nothing. It's not like you are lazy, but it's also a productive way to help improve your health too, right? You just sitting down, you are not checking your phone, you are not checking pictures online or pictures of your phone, you are not checking messages, you are not probably even reading any book at that moment. You are just looking, just that silence. It's not that you are, it's not that you, it's not that you don't have a lot of things in your mind to do, but you just want that saneness. Probably you need to go upstairs somewhere in your house, or you just need to go to a garden or somewhere to have that 2 minutes. But it is very important. Even at workplace, sometimes you can also practice it. It's called mindfulness, right? Next slide, please. So, method to improve our sleep schedules. So, your preferable cortex actually shrinks the more after you let yourself to be interrupted by disruptive technologies like instant messages, mails, social media. The use of phone in meetings and gatherings creates a distraction and disconnect us. Right? This one is something that some people don't really understand. Last week, even I mean the essence of phone is the distraction of phone is so much that some people don't even know that they are getting this, they are getting themselves distracted and getting other people distracted. So last week we had a presentation at our workplace. This lady was taking us an interesting topic, but only for her to every small 2 minutes, she's checking her phone and the phone is at her back pocket. She will now carry it up, and the phone has this long, pouch that has some chains, fancy chains. So everybody will just be looking. Is it the pouch we should look at? Is it ash we should look at, or is it the slide we should look at? So those things causes distractions. If you're in a meeting and you need to listen attentively, it's very important that you keep your phone aside, even though or if you have a need to use the phone to type, to write something down, fine. But it will not be proper that we are using that phone, right, to distract ourselves. It won't give us we won't be able to, giving our what we're expected to do, what we're expected to do, or what we're supposed to achieve. It won't help us achieve what we're expected to achieve in that time frame, right? Next slide, please. So, this book really, really, talks about a lot of things, and technology is also part of them. Just talking about, oh, I didn't edit this part, but technology in sense of the usage of phone, right? The usage of social media, checking your mails. Some people, they just there are some people that they just want to see their laptop on. It's not like as if they want to do anything, but they just want to see their laptop on, connected to the internet, and just be seeing that any mail that is dropping, they are checking it. Both the one that they've forgotten that they subscribed for, the emails from different newsletter from different people, they're always checking it. And sometimes one of the unproductive hours, me, I've tried to avoid that thing for a long time. Once I resume work like this, I don't even check my mails immediately, because sometimes you can just be not my personal mail I'm talking about, not my work mails, because work mail I have to check it. But personal mails I don't always check it all the time, because it has a lot of mails that would keep me distracted for more than an hour. So I just focus on the one that is important to the workplace, right? So because you checking that other one can distract you, and for like 30 minutes you are doing another thing else that the mail has carried you to do, right? So those things, kind of, distract us and doesn't give us fully mental balance, of what we should, what we should do, right? Next slide, please. Yeah, taking a mental break, right? Also very important for us to ensure that we take mental breaks. Mental breaks helps a lot, right? It might just be just the way I mentioned, that you can just take a walk. Right? Sometimes if you feel you sat down for a long time, right? Also taking a mental break too. It doesn't mean, I mean, some people have more than 8 hours stretch meetings, and you end up thinking that you can do something after 8 hours stretch, 8 hours stretch of meetings. There's nothing you can actually do by that time. You only need to take a break, take a mental break. And taking a mental break does not mean that you are now sitting down with a group of friends still talking about the meeting that you've left. Right? Taking a mental break is just you and you alone. Because all these things boil down to our own personal self. If you are not able to do it for ourselves, we won't be able to see other people and tell them this is how you need to do, this is how you need to behave when you feel like this, right? Insight from insight from an air traffic controller who takes, okay, so yeah, okay, so I wrote here that there's an insight from an air traffic controller who takes 15 minute breaks after an hour due to their stern focus on job. So there's an air traffic, so he gave an yes, it was an example of some air traffic controller. So these people, they are at the top of a tower, right? And they're always to watch the way airplanes move to and fro, and see that okay, and monitor all the navigations, monitor that okay, no train is experiencing any issue. So they are always on the system, looking at screens, communicating, talking on the phone. Okay, yeah, I'm giving feedbacks up and down, giving feedback. So they're always giving 15 minutes break, right, after an hour. So because those things actually stretches a lot of them, stretches their mind, because they have to give in all their minds to that work, so that they can give the best output, right? So because of the extra focus the work requires them to do, right, they have to take that stretch of 15-minute breaks, right? It doesn't apply to everybody, we all know that, but these people, because of the stretch of focus that they give to their job, they have to take 15-minute breaks. And like I said here, in the words of Gen Z will say go outside and touch grass. What does that mean too? That means that you should go outside and actually get fresh air. You feel disturbed sometimes, you feel heated sometimes, even in your mind. When you're just talking, you just flipping through what has happened in a day sometimes could actually give you some kind of emotions that you don't really like. So sometimes you just need to go outside and free your mind, right? Go outside and free your mind, or just find a place where it's only you and you only have that full focus on yourself, to relax, to take away those distractions, right? Next slide, please. So, how do you enjoy your mental breaks? Right. One, let go of your work activities. Close your eyes and keep them open. Close your eyes or keep them open, whichever way you prefer. You know, direct your full attention to your breath. So, this exercise you can always take it. Not really the way I write it here, but it's very simple. You just close your eyes. Just focus on your hmm, your breathing. Just focus on your breathing. Listen to your breathing. It takes you back to how your body system works. You feel differently. Direct that full attention to your breath. Then for 3 breath cycles, when you're done, breathe in, you breathe out, you breathe in, you breathe out. When you've done that like 3 times, right? It you'll notice in your breath, when you've done that for 3 times, then breathe out while relaxing your shoulder, your neck, and your arms, right? You are Those things are the way you are breathing, that you are feeling it in your shoulders. You are like as if you are lifting up your shoulders, you are bringing it down, right? Because when I was reading, I actually took this exercise, right, and it was helpful, right? Breathe while focusing fully on your inhale. Breathe out while focusing on your exhale, right? Breathe in while enhancing the clarity of your attention. breathe out while maintaining clarity. So it's just still the breathing exercise, and let go of the exercise, then return back to work with a renewed relaxation, focus and clarity. So all it's saying is that in that space of time when you want to enjoy, one of the ways, right? It's just one of the ways. There are other ways that you may not need to do breathe in and breathe out, but I mean, one of the simplest ways, if you don't even know what to do at that point in time, breathing, just take a deep breath in and out. Focus on that breath. Focus on how it's coming out. Focus on how it's coming in, right? That way, you are able to feel refreshed. There's a refreshment that you feel inside yourself. There's a relaxation you feel inside yourself, and you're able to focus on the next thing to do. Next slide. So I don't think this slide is complete, but I think okay. Yeah, so the benefit of all this is that it allows your brain, it I mean, benefits of allowing your brain short regular having short regular breaks from the stress and rigorous of work are numerous. Your brain is re-energized and your mind is more focused and clear. Your body is more relaxed and your neck and your break and you break the spell of constant distractions, right? So in all, right, the benefit is that a it gives you advantage over the distractions that you faced over whatsoever things that you might feel overwhelmed with, right? So these little things are one of the ways that it helps us improve ourselves, right, and become a better leader at the end of the day. So one of the I think I didn't write there's something that is in the next slide that it talks about, but okay. No, this one is not part of it. This one is not part of it. This is not part of it. But I'll just end it here. And I hope that I would have maybe next session to complete my side. But it's not yet. Thank you very much. Those are my own key takeaways, right? That I had to share on this slide. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, David. Sorry, I was trying to unmute myself there. Oh, thank you so much for your presentation. Yes, I think all David has been talking about, um, from start to finish is all about mindfulness, right? All about mindfulness. And if we look at the way this book has, been unfolding from the very first chapter where we talk about the MSc leader, those three pillars, the mindfulness, selflessness or selfless leadership, and compassion. And, then going on in chapter 2, 3, and 4. Okay, I think chapter 2 was about understanding yourself first. And chapter 3, 4, and 5 now, which is because we are currently on chapter 5, which now goes down further to, sort of make us understand that we must first lead ourselves under these three core areas. We must first lead ourselves. If you look at chapter 3, it says mindfully lead yourself. Chapter 4 says selfless self-leadership. And chapter 5 now, which is lead yourself with compassion. If we look at those three core areas, it's all about self-care, if you ask me. It's all about self-care. Because before we can lead others, we must first lead ourselves, right? Before we can have the courage to lead others, we must first lead ourselves. And that is what, we have been going through the last three chapters, leading yourself with mindfulness, leading yourself with selflessness, selfless self-leadership, and leading yourself with compassion. So thank you once again, David, for your presentation. I did love the flow. Thank you so much for giving us these nuggets, to help us stay healthy and also help us manage ourselves as leaders. Okay, let's give David is flowers. The men in the house also like flowers. It's not just the ladies. So let's give David his flowers. Let's give him these diamonds and dollars, whichever one we choose to give him. Yeah. Thank you so much, David, for that presentation. Yeah, and sorry we had to start late. I know sometimes, we could kill your spirit when we start late. So, but you did well in the end. Okay, so I think we were talking about when David, went off the call. I think the network on or something happened. We're about to talk about the topic about sleep because you were just um at that point where you were talking about our sleep patterns and how we can better manage our sleep to help us um, get the advantage. So I think we were quite interested in that, and some people wanted to say something. So I think maybe we should start from there.
Yes, because actually it's not even me. Even the book like there was much more extensive discussion on sleep on that book. So I mean, I would
Yeah,
like to hear from everyone what do you think about the 7 to 9 hours of sleep and all those things. Miriam, you can take the floor too. Okay, thank you.
yeah. Miriam was gonna say. So Miriam will start with you. If you can speak,
Uh,
yeah.
hi guys. Princess, can Princess start?
Okay,
Trying
okay,
to
okay.
find. Yeah,
That's fine.
I'll
Yeah.
join in. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, Mariam,
Princess, yeah,
thank you.
over to you.
And to David, thank you very much for your presentation. So one thing I'll comment, we all know that you were trying new things. So in trying new things, which is very important, you had gone from your usual Texas to trying Mentimeter, which is good. I commend you because I know that after this presentation, you would have rediscovered how to use Mentimeter, you know, all the tricks, and you come back to give us the tips, on how to leverage on that tool for those who don't know how to use the Mentimeter tool. So I commend you on that. Um, and I don't know, maybe we'll take this offline later to know why you wanted to do that, to move from Canva or some other tool to try Mentimeter. What must have informed your choice? We'll get to speak about that later. But please come back to teach us one or two things, right? So it's very important. I was looking forward to your presentation. I didn't get the opportunity to read through and through, but I was able to glance through, and some area caught my attention. So for me, sleep is not just about the quantity, the number of hours you sleep. For me, it is the quality. And I think all of us in this room knows that this is a biological essential. We can't do without it. I was listening to, I think it was Mel Robbins on YouTube, and the Diary of the CEO. They had a sleep expert in their show, and they said the only way you can hack longevity is through sleep. In fact, the guy mentioned a couple of, things, exercise, eating well, and he said, look, the top secret is sleep. You have to, even if you do all of those, you eat, you do your exercise, you're mindful, you still have to sleep. The quality of your sleep matters. And that's the only hack. That's the top secret to well being. And I totally agree with it. When you talked about the art of doing nothing, I resonated with it because, yeah, I usually take my break to just sit down and do nothing. I can do that in addition to sleep. When I hit my bed, I forget about all the government policy, you know, the market situation, the economic landscape. I forget about all those worries. I go to sleep and I sleep. So for me, I think having read that this is the hack to longevity. Um, I love to take my sleep very seriously. And I advise that everybody does. Myself and Miriam, we have our, you know, wear and tear when it comes to this discussion. Because I know for leaders, we have to do what we have to do. And we think that we need to put in more hours of work and, in essence, compromise our sleep cycle. I think it's very important for us to really be mindful of sleep. Self-care is critical. And this topic is talking about we being able to show ourselves compassion, not just mentally, physically. So I particularly resonate with this particular uh, chapter. So that's from me. I don't know if anybody has any comment, input. Lady Evosa has been smiling all along because of this topic. I know we don't get enough of it. I know we don't get enough of it because all of us are at the top
Hustling.
of our game. Yeah,
We're hustling.
yeah, we're
Yes.
hustling. I know. We juggle. I know we juggle. And when you say, David wants me to give you the precise number of hours, there are days where I only get 4 hours of sleep. Don't get me wrong, right? But I have to compensate. I have to compensate for that, whether I like it or not. The body takes a toll on me. I don't know about you, but I have to compensate. So that's how it is for me. So the days that I have the opportunity to recompensate, even though that should not be the practice, you know, as professionals, I think there are high demands. Our environment, business landscape sometimes does not permit you to sleep luxuriously, as you would want to, but you need to understand that it's important to sleep. Oluwatoyin, you're guilty as charged, right?
No, I was just listening, and I thought Lady Obusa wanted to say something to that.
Yes, I wanted to say something.
Yeah.
But I didn't want
Yeah,
to
please go ahead.
interrupt.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so for me, I'm also guilty of it, especially when you have to juggle the work and school and projects and family and all of that. But over time, I've noticed that because I see it displayed in my children's life now. I have started to take it very seriously because I know what sleep can actually do. It can help you mentally. I mean, to improve your mental, to boost your memory. I have firsthand was the experience of that. But the truth is, sometimes you just see some of these things. But I've always told myself, I keep talking to myself and I tell myself that I will improve on it. When you said turn off the phone, lately, once I am tired, what I just do, reluctantly, I just drop my phone, sometimes put it on flight mode so that it don't even get me, and I just sleep. And the quality, like Princess said, the quality of sleep also matters. There are times I've actually found myself sleeping 4 hours, but I wake up really, really refreshed. Like, wow, I feel. There are times I wake up and I feel like I've slept so many hours. I feel it right inside my body. And on that day, trust me, everybody I meet on the way to my office to know that something good has happened to me. So sleep, we really cannot overemphasize it. It's something that we all should learn how to incorporate it into our daily business. It should be like a business to us, to me. So I'm talking to myself now. It should be like a business to me. The way I take my work, I think I should take the sleep even better than that, so that I can wake up, functioning better. And if it helps with longevity, why not?
Longevity, yeah.
Why not? So
That's
that's the only thing I can say.
yeah. Lovely, lovely. Thank you so much, Lydia Bosa, for that self or that self experience you have just shared with us and how it helps you when you sleep really good. So I'll just go to our doctor and ask Dr. Morayo. Maybe she can even give us some insight if she's able to speak anyways. Can even give us some insights from a medical perspective as well. Sorry, Dr. Morayo, are you able to speak? Okay, maybe I'll go back to Miriam to see if she's also available. Miriam, are you available now or still not able to speak?
I don't think Miriam is able
Okay,
to speak
to
because
speak, yeah,
she.
that's fine. Yeah. Okay, but I know she was really interested in that topic, but I understand. So I in my own take on sleep, really, you know, David mentioned the fact that we need to shut down, most things around us, the things that could be distractions, externally, um, which could be our devices, anything, just generally things, and then you should find an environment where you can really um, restfully, take that restful sleep. So that's quite important. I know I've seen people sleeping in the middle of the market. I don't know how they do it, but that must show how tired they are and how I've seen people, yeah, as noisy as the marketplace is, they can sleep there. But I don't know how relaxing that sleep would be overall. But we should always find places that are quite conducive for sleep, for good sleep. The other thing, so what I was going to say about, shutting down and all of that, sometimes the problem even comes from or internally, from our internal, um, you know, mechanism, I would say, so to speak, whereby we've shut down the computer, we shut down the phones, or we don't have all those, but we refuse to shut down, our own internal memory, whereby we are thinking about everything that's happened through the day or that's going to happen the next day or everything else that, how would I make that next dollar? How would I make that next naira? You know, and, basically you are found lying down there or laying there and, you're not really restfully sleeping. And at the end of the day, you come out of it tired, even more tired or even more exhausted, So I know sometimes the men, we find a way of just shutting down and sleeping easily. At least from my interaction with some men, I know that, no matter how heavy the weight is on your shoulder, on your head, you just find a way of you just sleep it off. But sometimes the other gender, let's not call their name, they might find a way of, that the nighttime is their best time to, that's why you see they can wake you up at night to talk and and discuss that issue because it's still on their mind, So I think being mindful is what we're talking about, being conscious, being mindful, just try as much as possible to be mindful enough to shut down as much as possible because you will still go back to face that problem in the morning, you know. So why not just give yourself the luxury of enjoying the night's sleep? Thank you very much. Yeah, so I don't know if anyone else has something to say before we um, call it a day. It's been a very
Very well
interesting
said,
um, discussion, rather.
Oluwatoyin. Very well said. But I won't hold you to that aspect because we're not going to close today. So I just wanted to read something from the book, page 81. And it says, our research found that leaders with a disciplined approach to self-compassion sleep more. Underline, disciplined approach. So leaders within our level should sleep more if we have a discipline approach. And I think that is supposed to be the call to action tonight. In fact, the majority of C-suite executive we spoke with get 7 to 8 hours, David, that's for you, of sleep per night. Despite intense traveling and demanding schedule like Lady Evosa, who is in somewhere, we are
Kigali?
online. No, be careful what you say online. So they leave my sister before you go and mention a location. Do not start looking for my sister somewhere. No, they are all disciplined about not compromising on sleep. Some block their calendars for a certain time. That's why we have focus room, right? It's not just sometimes to take meetings and all of that, but just to sit down and stay mindful, to detox, to decompress, and all of that. Um, so I think it's very important. I think it was somewhere in the Japanese culture, I don't want to quote wrongly, that they do take sleep break in the office. It's part of their culture, right? Even in
Yeah,
the
I think they are
workplace.
the one. I saw something
They're
like
the ones,
that.
right? I don't know if
Mhm.
you saw it. They do take sleep break even in the office. They take time to go and take a nap and then come back refreshed. Like Lady Evosa said, it's very important. There are days when you sleep 1 hour, it feels like you've been giving your entire life back. You know, you're just like, why don't I do this more often? Anytime I look at my daughter and I can feel the stress in her eyes, I keep asking, what's your schedule like in school? Has it changed? And all of that. I know that she's not getting enough sleep. So I would enforce and ensure that, okay, our cutoff time for tech and all of that, is adhered to. I'll be strict on it, so because it's the same way. And for us, let food be your medicine and medicine thy food. The second approach for us is sleep well, which is very critical to your well-being, you know, in addition to every other thing, exercise and all of that. So if you come back home from anywhere sick in my home, two things my father will prescribe. Go and eat first. Once your tank is full, sleep it, and then the next day we can test you and see if you're actually sick, you know. If if you meet those two criteria, that's his litmus test. If
Most
you
times,
meet those
yeah.
two, yes. If you meet those two and then your sickness is still ah, then we'll now see the doctor. Yeah, yeah. Somebody's laughing in the chat room. That is the litmus test in my home. Eat first, your tank is full, sleep it off, and then the next day we can administer drugs. So over to you, Oluwatoyi.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Princess. Always very very interesting listening to you when you give your analogy. Okay, so I'll just go back to our speaker for the day because of our time that we've overshot for almost 19 minutes now. So sorry to those online. Sorry for going over because we didn't start early. So quite understandable. And so we'll hear from our speaker for the day, Mr. David. Any last words from you, sir?
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, everyone, for your contribution as well. So, my own last word would be that we should not, weigh at our hearts I mean, things that are not really, not, I mean, sometimes things could be very disturbing sometimes, but it shouldn't be too close to our heart that it gives us so much distraction for we not to even understand how our body is supposed to operate. Because when we weigh in too much problems, too much challenges, those things really affect us to sleep, to affect us to rest. Sometimes if you are the kind of person that you usually go to the gym once in a while, it would also affect you to do those things. It will even affect the way you eat. I mean, just your condition of eating is just now, I mean, gets different, right? So we shouldn't have too much, thought about, oh, how do you want to do these things to get better? Don't always have that. Don't get to that point of having heavy headaches on, things like that. I mean, if it's something that you need to talk to people, we should always do those things, especially anything that can free our mind. We should embrace it more importantly, right? So that's just all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. David, for that. So tomorrow we'll be looking at a different angle of read. We've been talking about self-care basically for the leader. So tomorrow we are also going to go on to leading others, how we can affect others, and the read for tomorrow is going to be understand your people. We've talked about understand yourself earlier on. Now we're talking about understanding your people, and in the same manner, just like after we talked about understanding yourself, we went on to mindfully lead yourself, selfless self-leadership, and lead yourself compassionately, or lead yourself with compassion. We'll also be looking at in the upcoming chapters after understand your people. We're also looking at mindful leadership. That's mindful leadership for your people. Next, we'll be looking at selfless leadership for people, and also compassionate leadership for others. So quite well, the flow is quite well, in the way that it tells us that we must first look after ourselves before we can look for others. Like David rightly said in the first instance, if you are on a ship, if you're on a boat, you're on a plane, if it's going down, let's say you even have a baby with you, the rule is that you first look after yourself, because if you can't save yourself, then you can't save someone else from drowning, can't save someone else from any sort of imminent danger. So now we've talked about looking after ourselves. So from tomorrow on, we'll go into understanding our people, the people that will lead us as leaders, of captains of industries, as leaders in organizations, and future leaders in anything we find ourselves doing. Thank you very much for listening. Once again, this is the Business Readers Club, where we believe in helping to make ourselves get better in terms of our general life leaders, life leadership skills, and also as business leaders. So you're in the right place if you have come here today, and hope to see you back tomorrow in the boardroom. So we'll close with this on this note. Thank you and have a good evening. Bye now.
And good night
Thank
from
you.
Dubai.
Good
Good night.
night.
Good night.
Yeah,
What time is it in Kigali?
it's 8:24.
All right. Okay. So
An hour.
enjoy your evening.
1 hour difference, I guess.
Thank you. Yeah, 1
Yeah.
hour. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
that's
Thank
fine.
you. Good night.
Bye-bye.